My name is Nina Stubb. I work as a developer for multicultural activities at the Red Cross. I have always worked in multicultural environments, and this has always given me a great pleasure. Working in multicultural environments means that you learn a lot about people. You learn a lot about societies, and foremost, you learn a lot about yourself. People's lives and stories never cease to energize me and to surprise me. I would like to talk to you today about how we can make inclusive societies. We need to have inclusive societies because inclusive societies has less marginalization and less conflicts. Inclusive societies are sustainable societies. Today we have maybe the most multicultural world we've ever had before. People move due to work, they move due to love, they move due to studies, but they also sometimes move not because they want to, but because they have to. And in the world today, we have 60 million people that are refugees, that have fled because of conflict, or maybe because of catastrophes or environmental disasters. Now, there has been a study at Huddersfield University by the Center of Resilient and Sustainable Communities by a Dr. Meaton. She has made an estimate that in the year 2050, we will have 250 million refugees. 250 million refugees, then not due to conflict mainly, but due to environmental change. So we will have to understand that migration and multiculturalism is nothing that's going away. It's something that is here to stay, and it's something that is increasing. It is something that societies will have to learn to adapt to. So we should stop looking at multiculturalism or diverse societies as a nuisance, as a cost, as something that is troublesome, maybe even a threat. We need to start looking at multicultural societies as a benefit. And for me, it's not hard to see multicultural or diverse societies as a benefit. I think about the way we make decisions. If we have the same frame of mind always, and our opinions never get challenged, well, we don't renew ourselves. We're not innovative. But if we have very many different kinds of frames of reference, a lot of different opinions when we take our decisions, we can make flexible, more creative decisions in the future. If you look at the global economy, you see that we have to all the time find new markets all over the world. New markets means new customers. New customers means that you need to have selling teams and people that make products that are of a different background, that are teams made up of not solely one homogeneous type of people. Now, for me, if you look at the population today in Finland, a lot of people live until they're about 100 years of age. It's not unusual. But our working aged people are getting fewer and fewer. Well, migration means that we could have more people that actually help sustain those people that get quite old. And for me, who love traveling and whose absolute favorite city in the world is New York, I see great potential in the fact of having new art, new music, having different kinds of cuisine and restaurants in my city. And at the same time, I get to meet people that are from all over the world, which open my eyes. And I hope that that kind of city, community, country will also make people more tolerant. More tolerant people, I think we will have a more peaceful world in all over the world. Now, well, are we so bad at this then? We have integration projects, we have projects that try to include people, that include, there's projects, for instance, for asylum seekers getting an internship, for refugees finding their way into the work market, for immigrant mothers and their children to find a new hobby, a group of people to hang out with. Now, all of this is good, but we have to beware, because if we look at this newcomer as somebody that needs to be integrated and sort of counseled and shown how to fit into society, we look at them from an outside perspective. And that sort of makes this polemic of we and them, we and them. And that doesn't help integration, really. I'll try to explain what I mean. In Sweden, there was a study made a few years ago, a very extensive study called the blågula glashuset, the blue-yellow glass house. It was made in all areas of society. And the part that struck me the most was the one about politics. A lot of political parties like having people of different origin, like having people that look a little bit exotic, have a different name on their lists for the municipal elections. For instance, the municipal elections. And this gives the party a very good image. They are parties that like multicultural societies. They try to make an including society happen, and so on. However, it was also shown in this study, when people, newcomers, not the Swedish-born politicians, got voted in, they were not given positions that carried weight. Their suggestions were not often listened to. They felt as if they didn't get to do what they came to do, to actually change things. That's why they had come into politics. Now, that meant that, and statistics show also this, that after one term in office, a lot of the politicians of different origin than Swedish, they left. They didn't feel they had done anything for the change they wanted to work for. Well, the Swedish politicians were also interviewed. And it turns out that there is this subtle feeling of, well, you know, they don't really know our meeting culture. They don't really, they don't have the same frame of mind. They don't really fit in. So it's kind of hard to bring them in. This kind of reminds me also of something I think I learned in history about a former president in Finland. He liked having his meetings in the sauna. He had unofficial meetings. They had a lot of political talks in the sauna. This was very easy because all the politicians back then, almost all of them were men. Well, as time went by, more women became politicians. It's a little bit of a problem now. And it turns out that the women had things to offer. They actually knew stuff and they could contribute to politics. Well, that meant the meeting culture had to change. And I don't think the president today has his unofficial or official meetings in the sauna. So it seems that the people that are privileged, the people on which by the norm, the normal is defined, They see that, well, you really need to look the same as me, have the same background, the same frame of reference, the same schooling, preferably Finnish because it's the best in the world, as me, to have something to offer, to have something to give to a certain situation. So I think we need to start looking at ourselves. And now I want to give you a small exercise. I'm going to say something and I'm going to let you have a few seconds. I'm going to say a woman in a hijab, a headscarf with 3 children. I'll give you a few seconds. I think you see her in front of you. I also think you associate her to a whole bunch of stuff. Then I say a black man with Rasta braids, and you see him, and you associate. Then I say a woman in traditional Roma dress, and you associate. You see her, and you associate. And I think we all know that we associate by ideas that we have in our mind. We see somebody and we attribute them with personal traits and with different groups and with different things. We seem to think we know who they are. So we really need to start looking into ourselves. We need to change our privileged glasses for a pair of glasses that are for diversity and multiculturalism. To see, with the diversity glasses, you can see the individual. You don't see those prejudged ideas that your mind has made. A few weeks ago, I went to a seminar that was in which a young Afghan man called Omid Mahmoudi talked. He had come to Sweden at the end of 2011 as an unaccompanied Afghan refugee. He had traveled long, troublesome trip. He had left country at war behind, family, and he had a lot of peers that had lived through the same thing. There were 21 people in the family group home where he lived, 21 young men. The day he was there talking, he said, "Today I actually don't know of any of these 21 guys who are unemployed. 2 of them are studying law, 1 just became a dentist, and 1 has a business that had a 10 million turnover last year. One of his friends had started something called the Asylum Relay, which is a awareness raising march, annual awareness raising march in Sweden now, to raise asylum seekers' issues and rights. Omid himself has started the Association for Unaccompanied Minors, an association that tries to help unaccompanied minors all over Sweden. They have chapters in 20 places in Sweden now. I asked Omid how come he thinks that so many of his peers from that family group home actually have had such a successful way into society. And he said, well, the family group home where we lived was really not an institution. It was really a home, and it was a place where counselors and grown-ups actually saw each and every one of us as resources, as talent, as somebody who had something to contribute. And the thing is, many of these young men had responsibilities before they left Afghanistan. They had traveled for almost for months on their own, taken their own decisions, taken lots of responsibilities. So they had a lot of talent, they had a lot to offer. And this, the counselors had seen. So they were actually part of the decision-making, of the running of the home from the first moment on. This meant they got to feel like they were really resources. They contributed, they had talent. They got to feel they were valuable. Now, this is where we have to come to. We have to come to a point where we see people. We see their resources, their talents. We have to remember to talk to people and not about them. The upcoming week is the week against racism. And I hope you all will be out there celebrating the Week Against Racism with me and the rest of the city and the rest of the world, because it's an international week. And Vasa has more than 100 languages spoken, so we are a very multicultural and diverse city. But I want to leave you with a few, some food for thought for this coming week, but for all the weeks in the future, all the days. Beware of your privilege. Research your prejudice continuously. You need to challenge your prejudice often. And that you can do by thinking, I need a new team member. When you need a new team member, a new staff member, a new volunteer. Now, then you have to look at the people as individuals. If you look at the people as individuals, you will be able to, every decision you take will be a step towards this inclusive society that I talk about. And to be able to do that, you need to talk to people, not about them. Thank you.